So we also have other nodes that are used for different things. So we are actually going to start introducing nodes for now. So let's go ahead and we can click the plus button here. You can call it an icon, you can call it a button. So let's click it. You can also click the control A as discussed earlier. So to display a 2D image, we are going to be using the sprite 2D node. So we can easily go over the description here. It says a node that displays a 2D texture. The texture display can be a region from a larger atlas texture or a frame from a sprite sheet animation. So basically just know that if you want to display any image on our screen, we are going to be using a sprite 2D node. But we can also use the animated sprite 2D node or other nodes that also perform displaying an image on the screen. But as discussed earlier, each node gives a different functionality. So for displaying just the image on our 2D view, we are going to be using the sprite 2D node. So let's click ahead. Let's click on create. So we are looking at this point over here. Let's click it again. So this point over here is our origin point, which is 0 0. Don't forget that it progresses downward. So our y goes down like this, our x increases like this. So to display any image on our UI, we've already added a sprite 2D node as the child of our root node, but we are not seeing anything. Why is that? We actually want to see an image. So let's go over the properties, the inspector tab over here. Sorry. So we are looking at the texture property. If you hover over the texture property over here, we see that we need to provide a texture 2D object to draw. Okay, to actually see an image in our 2D scene over here, we are going to drag this icon.svg file. We are going to drag it into the texture property over here. Then let's go, and now we can actually see our texture. So let's say we have uh, other texture for over here. We can easily just drag it to our texture property over here to change the texture. So I think now is the right time to leave the Godot editor and actually go ahead and make our sprite. So let's click on file, new file. So if you actually want to make the sprite, you can follow along. If not, you can just skip ahead in the tutorial. But I would actually recommend following along. You can use other pixel art software like graphics scale or graph fx2 or something like that. We also have Sprite. Sprite is actually Libre Sprite is actually created from Sprite. So if you are looking for the software that I would recommend the most is actually Sprite. But Sprite is not completely free. The source code is released for free, but the application file is not free. So it's actually very cheap. It's worth the money, but for this tutorial I want everything to be free so you can follow along without paying anything. So let's go ahead. let's make sure the width is 32, the height is also 32. Let's click on this. We want our background to be transparent, our color mode to be RGBA. RGB just stands for the red, green, blue, and the alpha components, so that we can include transparency in our assets. So go ahead and click OK. And we are placed with we are given a canvas. So this is actually what we can draw on, basically like that. But this is not how pixel art works. So first of all, I'm going to assume that you have uh, by the way, if you want to do what I just did right now, like if you want to just move stuff away from the screen, just go over here, click on this rectangular marquee tool. If you hold it, you can see that we have more than one option here, but we are going to be using the rectangular. We're not going to be using the circle and the likes, but we are going to be using the rectangle. So you can just use it to just drag a portion of our sprite and just move it away. Portion of our drawing rather. You can just move it away like that. If you want to actually draw, we are going to be using this pencil tool over here. The shortcut for it already we've been shown is B. So let's go over here again. We also have the shortcut for the rectangular marquee tool, which is M. We have for the pencil, you can over this all these two. This is a toolbar, so we have the tools over here. I would actually recommend visiting all these tools, but yeah, for now we are going to be using the pencil tool. So we can change the brush our pencil size over here. If you want a larger pencil, so let's say like 8 pixel, and we can start our drawing. But that's you don't actually want that in pixel art, so we're actually going to stick with the 1 pixel. So let's move this aside. So basically there are steps to creating pixel art, but my most recommended step is to start with the silhouette. From there we can refine the shape as to our liking. So let's go ahead and do just that.